Okay, great. So we have this question. What value of x is in the solution set of 2 times 3x minus 1 greater than or equal to 4x minus 6? Okay, so all you have to do here is make sure you solve for x, right? Okay, so this is the question. We have 2 times 3x minus 1. Then this is greater than or equal to 4x minus 6. Okay, so based from my experience, a lot of students, they just tend to get scared whenever they're seeing an inequality, which I think is mind-boggling because, first of all, you're going to treat an inequality similar to an equation, right? Or an equality symbol. Why? Because you're solving for x, essentially, right? The only difference here is you have a greater than or equal to symbol, right? So there's nothing to be afraid of. I think you just focus on, whenever you get an inequality question, just focus on solving for x the same way as you would expect if you have an an equal, what do you call this? An equation that has an equality symbol. There we go, right? So if you have 2, right, just treat this as solving for x, right? Just isolate x on one side and you get a constant, for instance, in this question. So here, you have to distribute 2 to each of the terms, right? So you would get 6x, then you would get minus 2, then this is greater than or equal to 4x minus 6, right? And remember, just treat this greater than or equal to symbol the same way you would see an equal sign, right? So if you have 6x, all you have to do is move 4x to the opposite side. So you would get 6x minus 4x, which is 2x, right? And then you're just going to copy your greater than or equal to symbol. And then because you have a negative 2 here, you need to move that to the right side of your equation. So you would get negative 6 plus 2. So negative 6 plus 2 would be negative 4, right? Then you're going to divide both sides with 2. And as you can see, because this negative sign is not on the coefficient of 2, right? Therefore, there is no need for you to flip the direction of your inequality symbol. That means if it's greater than or equal to, it will remain the same. However, if the scenario changes, right, such that if you have 2x and if 2x is negative as opposed to negative 4, or even if 4 is positive, right? So say for example you have negative 2x, right? Whether negative 4 is kept, right, or the negative sign is kept, or if 4 is positive, right, regardless of whatever the sign of 4 is, as long as you have a negative coefficient, so when I say negative coefficient, a negative number, right, multiplied to x over here, that's the only time that you're going to change the direction of your inequality symbol. Otherwise, everything is going to remain the same. You're not going to flip anything, right? So we don't really care about the sign of 4, right? If that's negative or positive, regardless, right? Because you have a negative 2 here, that means you would have to flip the inequality symbol from greater than or equal to less than or equal to. So dividing both sides with negative 2, you get x. So we flip this, less than or equal to, and you're going to have positive 2, right? So even if you kept this negative sign or you just simply had that negative sign over there, it doesn't influence the direction of this inequality symbol. Okay, so that's my whole point with inequality. And I think that's the key point that a lot of students tend to forget. So you have to remember that by now. Okay, great. So because the negative sign is on 4, right? It's not on 2, therefore we just keep this inequality symbol. So if it's greater than or equal to, we're just going to keep that as greater than or equal to. Therefore, we can cancel this and this, we get x, and this is greater than or equal to negative 2, because a negative number divided by a positive number is still a negative number. Great, so we have x greater than or equal to negative 2, and let's see what they said. So given this equation, the bracket on the left-hand side is open and we obtain 6x minus 2 greater than or equal to 4x minus 6. That's absolutely right, which is what we have here. And it says now we bring 4x on the left side of the inequality, which is what we did, right? Because initially it was from the right side, so we moved that to the left side. And negative 2 on the right side of the inequality, which is right, so we get this. 2x greater than or equal to negative 4, which is what we have here, dividing both sides with 2, right? So we get x greater than or equal to -2, which is what we have just obtained. Then, now, instead of leaving your final answer, which is x greater than or equal to -2, I mean, that's fine, but if your teacher is specifically asking for the interval notation, which they've included over here, you can say that this is -2, right? But in this case, you're going to have a square bracket. The reason being is because you're including -2. So if you have a square bracket, that just means that -2 is included, and then because this is greater than, that means that it's going from -2 to positive infinity. And then close bracket, right? So in that case, this is equal to this. So any is fine. And because they're specifically looking for the solution set, that's why they have your final answer in terms of interval notation. And that's the only reason why. So this is absolutely right. So we can move on to the next question. So just to verify, I don't really have anything to correct. So it's a perfect solution and answer.